What's up, Alphas? It's your boy, Alphas. I made looking cute, looking clean, looking sexy. Today, we have a special episode of Ring of Power. And for the first time, I repeat, for the first time, an episode that didn't bore me. The first 18 minutes of this episode, I mean, was better. All the episodes combined. The first 18 minutes was literally good. I want people to understand it. The first 18 minutes was actually really good. We set up a lot of stuff. We finally started moving. You know what I'm saying? We finally started moving in this show because the one complaint I always had about this show has been how slow paced it been. So I am very ecstatic to see that the show is actually taking a progression in terms of where we go in the story, where we're coming from, all these different things. I know I'm reading off my notes to make sure I got everything right. But I want to know y'all thoughts. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. All my info about if you want to see anything about me, all my info is in the link tree below. So just click that and click that like button, click that subscribe button. I want to know your thoughts. How do you feel about episode 4? Did you feel like this episode was really, really, did you feel like it finally started progress? You know what I'm saying? Did y'all feel like it finally started progress in the show? Um, how did you like we had action? We had we finally saw fights. That's the one thing I'm most excited about. We actually saw fights. You know what I mean? We actually saw fights. Um, let's start off the episode. Let's go into it. We had the Queen Regent Míriel. She is welcoming them babies and asking for their name. When we see an earthquake appear, the walls shatter and you see these lilies falling. Those the petals of the tree that was stated throughout the episode. It started falling and it means the end of Nerium, the city, the sea city. Numenor. I don't know why I said Nerium. Numenor. It means the end, and its soul is flooded. But we found out it was a dream. Of course, it wouldn't just randomly happen. So it was a dream sequence telling us why the queen fears certain things. We see Erin. She sees Tamar. Tamar is the guy from that Halberd beat up. He's dissing him. He's dissing the elf. He's stirring it up. We ain't gonna let these elves take over, etc., etc. We see Farazan, he's of course Tamar, of course, is lying. We see Farazan coming up, calling him out his lies, talking about who are we to be scared of a random elf who is a castaway because they still believe she's a castaway because the story was she's randomly on the ship with Halberd and they just on this little bitty ship and they just randomly happen to be the leader of the North Army, which is one of the most powerful armies in the whole place. Of course, it seems crazy. So Farazan he keeping the lies down. He roused the people up. He's telling them that y'all are we so weak? Are we not the people that fought Sauron? Are we not those warriors who helped defeat them? You think one measly elf is going to stop us? And he goes on, basically calling them soft. We see his son. We meet him. His name is Keeman. He flirts with Arion, Elendil's daughter. We see Elendil. Elendil brings up Halbert, who's in the dungeon, which we learned about in episode 2. Galadriel is sounding crazy. She is a little crazy in this episode. We get her calm down, but they're talking to Mirror. They bring up Halbar's in the dungeon. They bring up all these different things. And Galadriel basically is thrown in the dungeon because she is very straightforward and aggressive. She doesn't know how to talk to people. That's going to be like a theme throughout the episode that you don't understand how to talk to people. You just know war. That's not going to work here. And she's learning that because she just like, let me speak to the real king who really over this because I know he support the elves and you can't talk to the person in charge like that. Like, let me speak to the real one. Like it's just the same thing. Let me talk to your manager and you the only one on duty and you the assistant manager of the store. Like, I'm the manager in charge. What they got to do with me? We see Elrond's son, Isildur. He's distracted to see something keeps calling him to go to the west. He just distracted. I wanted this his family to have like a special sea calling, cause like, or is it sirens? Something in the West is calling him. Is it? I know they always say listen to the sea, and the sea leads you where you should go. And we see that he's gonna be led somewhere, but again, like I'm curious to see, is it something calling him? Do we get to see sirens in this show, in this episode? That'd be cool. I don't quite remember if they had sirens around like that, but something is calling him. Of course, he lets go on purpose. He wants to get kicked out. We find out episode he don't really want to be on the seagull, but he ends up getting his friends kicked out. They get mad. I think my boy Valendil, he took it a little too far talking about his dead mom. I know you had a dream. Come on, bro. He's still your friend. Like after that, I don't know if I can. Like man, you ain't cool no more. I don't care if I ruined your dreams. Me and you are not cool anymore. Let me know how y'all feel about it. Do y'all think Valentine was right in bringing up his dead mom, or does he have rightful anger to after man kind of ruin his dreams? You know what I'm saying? We find out later he's gonna be 100% wrong, but at that moment, I can see that he's feeling like he's right, right? Yo, we go to the next scene where they beat up Arondir. Arondir he got whooped. We finally see Adar, and we see Adar kills Karth the orc. Adar speaks Elven to Arondir. He tells Arondir been told many lies as Elven kind. And Adar tells him to send celebrating the dwarves Elrond, who is building the watchtower, a message. Those who are building the watchtower, he wants to send a message to them. He wants them to say, we don't see the message, which kind of gets me hyped. I'm like, this episode did a good job of this. Like, I want to know what he means they've been lying to them. I want to know what they mean to send the message, and they didn't give us the message. This is the progress I wanted in this show, right? We learn Adolf, he also wants to become a god. He said, I'm not a god. These people think I'm a god, but I'm not there yet. The next thing we see Theo, he's arguing with his mama Brunson, and she's basically Brunson, and she like, we are not going to town. We're going to stay safe. These orcs are around. They are trolling. They are patrolling these cities. It is not safe to go in these towns and get grain. Of course, he's hard-headed. He goes up there. He takes his boy Rowan. Rowan has the cart where they're going to take all the food. Fortunately for them, Rowan gets away before it gets night. But Theo is in the house trying to get more food, being greedy, of course. Theo gets attacked by one of the orcs, one that can talk actually. So we know, if you know the show, if you know Lord of the Rings, the ones that can talk typically be leaders. So you see Theo is getting attacked by him. He puts the Sauron's little blade on the thing and it becomes a sword. He swipes him, and then he runs away. He jumps in a well. They throw a bucket in the well. He gets wet. He makes a noise. He goes back. He's underwater. Like, orcs are stupid, so I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? Orcs are kind of stupid. I'm not upset about it. Back to Celebrant. Celebrant feels like the dwarves are hiding something. I felt like at this moment, they're hiding the rings, because if you know from the Tough Deal stories that the dwarves get rings, and I was wondering, is the second era the one that got the ring? I couldn't remember. Y'all can let me know if y'all in the comments, but I couldn't remember if it was the second era or the end of the first that they had the rings, and the elves kind of removed the rings, and then because it didn't affect the elves as much. So I'm curious about this. So I was curious at this moment. What's this about the rings, right? Elrond questions Queen Disa. Of course, they're lying, but they forget elves got good ears. Yes, they have good ears. So he heard them. Elrond goes into the old mine in which they are hiding some. Prince Durin accused Elrond of coming for this new purple ore they have. He asked to do an oath because he believes that they are using him to get to wherever this ore is, and they are trying to manipulate it, and somebody knows what this is, because all of a sudden when we find it, the elves come. Even though Elrond might be on the up and up, but somebody sent you. I don't even, and we noticed Celebrum said they don't even talk to him. None of the dwarves talk to him. They talk to Elrond, they won't talk to him. So that was like an interesting thing that was going on there. That was a little interesting dynamic that was going on. We see, but we also see Keeman is good at flirting as Arion. That's just something randomly happens that he runs into her. They drop the goblet of water. They offer to clean it up. He like, okay. She's like, I don't really date strangers, basically. And he like, oh, when I find a stranger, I make sure to tell them to keep away from you. Hey, I like, hey, that's old school. This classic for the old school flirting. Halbrand teach. We go back to Halbrand. Halbrand is teaching Galadriel, as I said earlier. It's the same problem. Like I said, you don't know how to talk to people. You used to war. You're not used to being in the presence of royalty, so you don't understand what's going on. So you have to find their weakness and shit. Find their weakness and use it against me. Like, no, find their weakness and use it to your advantage, not against them, but to make it their what they want a need, right? Find out what she needs and use it, and like you be the only one that can help them, which means you got power over them. That's old. That's an old tactic. Like when somebody's in a war and then you help them and then you use it. Like that's how you can tell Halbrand is kind of like royalty in a way, because that's how human royalty would act, and that's how all royalty would act. Like, let me become friends with you and allies. So he teaching her, she tricks them and easily beats the guards after they come and take her away. They was trying to get her. They're like, we're gonna take you tonight. We're gonna put you on a boat. You going away, and we're gonna send you back to the Elven Kingdom, and then we rid of you. She goes and she sneaks into the tower. The guards are searching for her. She sneaks into the tower, and she meets Míriel, whose father is sick, and she tells her the story about how father got sick after announcing that they were gonna get back and connect back with the elves after so long, and then he got sick. So she's like, I have a distrust for elves, and I have other problems that's coming to the kingdom because my father got sick and this other thing is happening. She takes him to the stone. She tells her to place her hand on the stone, but she be careful. Galadriel, of course, being the cocky person she is, like, I've touched stone. She's like, you haven't touched one of like this. She places her hand on the stone, sees the same flood Míriel did. They had the same situation when they did the situation where they went over. Galadriel explains that faith over fear, because you're acting in fear instead of faith. Will have faith in your gods and what's going on. So she tells her that, and they have this back and forth, a good back and forth. And she says, when you run a kingdom, you are a warrior. You can act in faith. I am a queen who is responsible for these people. I have to do what's best for the people. And if you are the cause of this flood, because you are seen at the flood, I have to get you out of here. I got to. You know what I mean? I have to get you out of here. We go to Theo hunting scene. By the way, this hunting scene looks amazing. It's like a video game. It was like Assassin's Creed in 4K movies. This is one of my favorite scenes. This is like this. It was like Assassin's Creed. They even had, like, if you had it in 3D, this would be amazing. The guy, he bent under the thing, like, you know, in games they hit the little shoulder lean against the rock, like I'm on this chair, hit the shoulder lean. He threw a chair, and the chair breaks at like the screen. I'm like, if this was in 3D, this would be amazing. This is the scene that I'm looking forward to in this show. Finally, this show picking up. They have a whole he falls on the ground, gets in the grass, a bunch of cool little action scenes. Shout out to the production on this show. Oh my goodness. We have the slow motion scenes, which are annoying, but it's action in this case, right? It's like action scenes. Arondir comes, he is running, he's shooting arrows as they are running away. They even have this slow motion scene. This is what makes this cool. They have this slow motion scene when he catches the arrow. He catches the arrow, turns it around, pulls it, and shoots back. Slow motion. It is a beautiful scene. And we see Theo almost get hit. You see it hitting trees. It's in slow motion. The camera work is, as a person that does videography, the camera work is magnificent. You see Bronwyn shows up. They run out the forest. You see this dope death scene. They turn around. They tell Theo. Theo falls one more time. Arondir pulls out his sword. Bronwyn, she has this pickaxe, and it has this dramatic music. And right when they're about to come out, the orcs are about to come out of the woods. Light comes. The sun comes, and I'm like, this is another beautiful scene. And I love how it stays in the story, because they shoot arrows. Because if they didn't shoot Elrond, like y'all got archers and y'all in the wood and the light don't affect y'all in the wood. You have archers shoot at them, and they did. And it wasn't. I appreciate it. I really appreciated the videography in this scene of this show. I really did. We on the scene where Princess Disa sings a song to the guys that the people who have had an accident. Early in the scene when Duran and Celebrim, I'm saying Celebrim now. Celebrim is having a conversation. They hiding mithril ore, basically. I think that's what they call it for in Earth language, in Middle Earth language, human language. Basically, they having mithril ore, and they are essentially mining it. The king doesn't want them to mine it because it is again dangerous. It's like hard to get out and it's perilous because they said it's like silk but hard like iron, and they make weapons out of it. Is amazing. Prince Run, of course, shows it to Elrond. They make an oath, like I stated earlier, and he shows it to him. He can never tell no one this. He put it on his father, who we learn later on. Don't talk about it, but we're finna talk about it in a minute because I wanted to put these scenes together. And he gives him the ore and says, "As a friendship, this is our ore," and that's how we get back to this. Because right before the scene, Prince Duran is talking to Elrond, and he's supposed to be down there with the 4 other people, right? It's restricted by the father, but it's like a small amount can go in there, and it caves on him. And this is where this scene comes from, because Princess Disa is singing a song to their god that they have breath when they come up. Elrond notices while she's singing something is happening. We find out they're alive. I still want to know what them little black lines was. I want to understand what the black lines is. We see Duran is angry as a result of the ore and mithril because his father does not want to keep doing this. He does not want them to keep doing it. He tells them that his council, we are not doing this anymore. Elrond talks about his father. He says his father was sent up to the gods as a star, and all this stuff would happen. And I got a theory in my head. Is Adar Elrond's dad? Could he been a cast out elf who they said was ascended, but they lied because he found out a secret? That's a good storyline. See, this is what I liked about this episode. I can start trying to theorize now. The previous episode, I couldn't theorize what was going on. I couldn't theorize what was going on in each episode. I had no clue. But now I can start seeing like, oh, is Adar? Is that Elrond's dad? Like, I can start like doing this stuff. Elrond. The one thing I did love about this episode was Elrond and Duran's relationship. It is amazing how this is what I've been looking for. Again, a connection, relationship, characters I can get behind. Like, I love that friendship. And King Duran gave Prince Duran a dope father speech. He gave him an amazing speech talking about he's always your father. He's always gonna be the. I'm like, that's right. We go back to the scene. Theo is with Bronson and they're talking. Theo is sitting on the ground. We see Walden, who shows Theo his mark, and Theo shows him his mark. That's basically the little mark that Sauron has. And the old man said, "The star follows me. Sauron is coming." So now I got another question: is Sauron the old man, or are they trying to throw us off? Are they trying to throw us off? Because it could mean that he's just coming because maybe a white or one of the people that have been cast aside is now coming. Or is he going to be Sauron? It could be anything. That's very interesting. Adar is told they have found Sauron's weapon. It's in the tower. Looking like we're going to find it and get some action. When it's dark, that means the trolls are coming. I said troll. I mean, ogres are coming. They are coming to fight the tower where all the people have gathered together and they eating food and they are together. And it's a bunch of people from a bunch of different villages, by the way. So that's not Bronson and them. It's villages. It's a bunch of villages because the ogres have taken over. Which Galadriel has been warning Numenor about. So it's nothing new. After Galadriel leaves, she's kicked out, sent by escorts to go to the back to the kingdom of the elves. And as she leaves, Miriam sees white petals fall. White petals what happened for the walls fall. Also, Muriel gives an amazing speech talking about basically what Galadriel said about how faith over fear and how they will come together and they will fight because something evil is coming and they are trying to destroy the walls. And we see that she says she will personally take Galadriel back and talk to the elves because they have something that seems like it's coming. The white petals tell them that something is coming, and that's how she convinces people to go. We see Isildur and his group, Valandil and his other friend, I don't forget his name, but they all say, I will go. Elrond sees his son saying he will go, because of course it's heading west. Isildur said his destiny is west, so of course he's going. And we seem like we are getting a war. And the show ends off there when people are saying I over and over again as Miriam looks at Galadriel as the show go off the air. Like I said, this is the first time I actually talked about the show without just ranting about how it's just a beautiful show with nothing happening. Something finally happened, so I'm excited. I'm actually next week is the first week I'm looking forward to reviewing the show on, because I love Tolfdir's writing, right? I thoroughly enjoy Tolfdir's writing, but sometimes it is slow, and this show took its time, so I'm always gonna give Tolfdir's Lord of the Rings series time because I love it, but them first three episodes was not it. It was beautiful. The best videography I've seen outside of scenes from Eternals and a few scenes from a few other movies, but overall, this seemed like the most expensive show they ever made. Claim. I appreciate you watching. Let me know, like and subscribe. All the follow the guys down there. You know what I'm saying? Like and subscribe. All that stuff. If you enjoy the content, of course. If you don't have to. I'm not gonna make you. I can't make you. You know what I'm saying? I just want you to. If you enjoy the content, I appreciate you and appreciate you. And by the way, if you're into sports, we're about to go to the sports channel over on 99 Sports, and I'm about to go live there. However, and if you want to read about sports later, we're gonna talk about football this weekend. So if you listen to this later, please stop by. I appreciate you. We're out. Peace.